what's your profession?
Well, I'm a freelancer and a small business owner. So I have this business based in the States. It's called SK, so cool. What we do is that we import various Korean skincare products from South Korea. And not just into the States, but we have Middle East and North Africa region that we supply there. So we mainly supply, we don't have a store ourselves, you know? And then I also do talent management, mainly for influencers. You know, there's a huge market for that now, and there has been. So yeah.
How does that work?
Right, so I have a couple of influencers that I manage personally, so I connect them with brands that are interested in collaborating for social media advertising work and events, attendance, and all that kind of stuff. Because all of these social media personalities are all Instagram famous, I call them, right? That's what it is. It's not like worldwide famous, but Instagram famous, and they're super relevant for their region, you know? And yeah, you know, so I just make a percentage out of managing everything they do, honestly.
Do you find that you're having to search for clients, or clients are coming to you?
With the influencers that I manage, clients are coming to me. So the influencers that I manage right now are in the 3 to 4 million follower number. So when you're at those numbers, brands really tend to gravitate towards you, you know? It's the micro influencer business where you're starting up, where you're truly trying to make a name for yourself, is where you go up to brands and really offer pro bono kind of work at the beginning.
What would be the best advice you would give to an influencer when it comes to the whole brand and managing?
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because the trend is changing online, you know? Things quickly change online. I think we could see that from how everybody's moved on to TikTok, right? And has left everybody else behind feeling old. So me personally too, you know, like I mean, this is the business I'm in, social media, and I still struggle with these new platforms that are popping up, you know. But my advice is that invest your money, and invest your money. Because a lot of money comes out of influencer business, but if you're not putting it in the right places, the economy could change next year and you could be left behind.
Young who get the money, who are getting this money, who are influencers, and they're not too wise with their money.
I mean, it's really brutal online, you know, like you could turn 35 and be too old to be relevant online tomorrow, and people won't be following your trends or life or anything like that, you know. And 35 is not freaking old, we know that, right? So what are you gonna do from then, you know? Like, you won't have any more incoming money, so it'd be a great idea to properly have your money that's been incoming through these ads invested properly. Right.
And we're talking about how Snoop Dogg mixes with a lot of young people, because they know what's going on, and so when he makes his music, it can still
100%, you know. And then like diehard fans of Snoop Dogg would criticize him, right, saying that, you know, what he's doing hanging out with these young rappers or whatever. But Snoop Dogg had this program with Martha Stewart. Did you hear that? Like he was on with Martha Stewart where they would get baked and bake, right? Because she's a huge smoker and drinker herself. So everybody's like, Martha Stewart, Snoop Dogg, like, how is that relevant? Well, you know, like, it is now. You know, you gotta stay relevant. What, Snoop is over 40 now, 45, right? And how many rappers do we have pouring in on a day-to-day basis, you know? So he's keeping up brands, and he has his different brands for smoking and all that kind of stuff too, right? So like that's there you go. That's his investment. You know what I mean? He found his market, I guess, and he invested. And if he would stop singing now forever, he'd still be making money, you know?
What I was thinking more of is that his fans, he ages with his fans. So is it worth keeping your fans relevant, the older generation, or kind of always hoaxing in more younger?
That's a good question. I think a bit of both, because you always got to stay true and authentic to your identity, right? To what people started to like you or fall in love with you for, right? So I think if you're just going to go with the market, you know, and just change your music to adapt, which a lot of people have done, right? I don't want to bring up any examples, but they really lose those loyal, diehard fans that they've had since day one. And that's really sad, you know, because I know a lot of artists that I've loved since day one and that have changed, you know, and it's quite sad. You know, so I think it has to be a bit of both. You can't be too old and just stay with the old times, and you can't just completely change your identity and roll with the new times, if that makes any sense.
Balancing that, you walk in a tightrope.
Yeah, exactly.
What made you want to start that company, and how long have you been running it for?
Right, so I didn't always have business-minded kind of mentality here, right? I actually used to work for different airlines as aircraft maintenance engineer. And then my sister-in-law, who is an influencer, came up to me one day and she was like, hey, you and I get along, right? Do you want to manage me on the side? And I was like, sure, I got a lot of free time after working hours, you know, I don't work shifts or anything.
So wait, she just came to you to say manage you, but did you have experience in managing?
I didn't have any experience, right? We just had a close relationship, you know, we're family and friends, you know, really good friends, and we get along. And she was like, "Would be interested in managing me?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll give it a shot, you know, and if it works out, let's do it." And I did, and I started making much more money than I was working for these airlines, right?
You said, "I want to something."
All right.
I want to.
All right, and I was.
You working for Delta Airways?
You know what I mean, and it was a lot less effort than what I was doing in engineering. You know, like, you know, I was working in hangars, and I was working in like different kinds of temperatures, you know, around aircraft, and you know, in that sort of world. And you know, I was really hustling for it, you know, and I just graduated, so it was good, honest money too. But when I came into this world, I was like, well, look at all this. I could do this kind of work, make a lot of money, and still have more time on my hands. Right? So I just decided one day to quit, and I did. 6 months into doing this, by the way, I quit. So 6 months into it, I decided, you know what, I gotta take a risk, right? So I took the risk, and that was 8 years ago now.
Okay, you haven't looked back.
I haven't looked back, you know.
And you're able to travel and do what you do.
Yeah.
All your clients in America, or are they just anywhere?
You're actually driving me to a potential new client.
Okay. So let's answer the question.
Right? Yeah.
You don't live here, do you?
No, I don't. Well, it's sort of complicated. My partner just moved here for his post-grad degree, and he's asked me to come move, you know, to be close, and I was like, sure, let me give it a shot. Let me see how it is working abroad.
Very easy going.
Yeah, you got.
All right, then.
I mean, in a beautiful city like this too, how could you say no, right? So it's been about 6 weeks now. I'm managing, you know, it's going pretty well, but I'm also trying to expand my network while being here, you know. So where you're driving me, my sister's based here. So her fiance, who is running this, let's call it like food supply company here, been wanting to connect me with his manager and CEO of this company over here. They produce their own hot sauces and kimchi here based in London. And I have friends that work in import-export business with the food business abroad, so it's just going to be a friendly chat to see if there's any kind of opportunity there.
Yeah, I suppose you don't just have to manage influencers, you can manage any corporation.
Yeah, you know, like really broadens your horizons in this world, you know what I mean? It kind of makes you look into tapping into different markets, you know? And like this meeting right now is just to see if I could be a middleman to connect them with him being a supply and a demand being somewhere else outside of the UK, you know? And if that connection is made, then yeah, that's great. And if not, it's just a business opportunity, I guess, I had to explore.
Well, we wish you well on that.
Thank you.
What I will ask is, what have you learned about the industry of what you're in now that you wish you knew when you started?
It's a really good question. You know, I wish I didn't keep such an analytical mind and thinking that being a doctor or an engineer or a pilot were the only secure jobs, you know? Because look at where we are now. How many pilots have been fired throughout the pandemic? Everybody's working from home, you know? Everything is moved online. If your business wasn't running online before the pandemic, you either rushed to start an online presence or you didn't make it, you know? So yeah, exactly. So I guess my advice, you know, is just look more into skills you could base in the business or online world, you know? So right now I find myself taking YouTube courses in graphic design and finance and business management, all these different skills, you know, because they're really needed here more than... We have a world filled with engineers, you know, filled with these technical labor skills, if you want to call them that, you know, but it's really lacking in all these other aspects, you know, like if you're a photographer now, holy shit, you know, like the business opportunities you get online with influencers, food businesses, fashion, retail, all of this, you know, it's huge. So I'm not sure if that answers your question in a simple way, but a bit of a broad aspect. Exactly.
Where are you, America, LA?
Close to LA, Fresno, about 4 hours from LA, yeah.
But I was thinking that the fact that you looked at the aviation industry and that kind of thing as a secure job, do you reckon that's influenced by your upbringing?
Yes, I would have to say yes. You know, my uncles are engineers, my brothers are all engineers, and
so you just had to follow the family.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean. And between you and I, like even when I was doing my degree, during my 3rd, 4th year, I was even doubting this is what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? But I was like, you know what? You came this far, invested this much money. You might as well get that degree, and then you're not bound to work for that. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I have to stay in the aviation world forever. You know?
What did your parents say when you decided to branch out?
They told me to take more time doing both jobs. you know, before I made a rash decision like that. But I'm the type of person, you know, if I know what I want, I know what I want, I'm going for it, you know, like you won't hold me back. Your old self. About this, like on our same topic, broaden your horizons and keeping your options open for when you're thinking about a career path, you know, like there's no one set way and that's it forever, you know. Like yesterday I was walking through, I'm staying down Shoreditch, I got an Airbnb there, and I was walking around and you have all these glass offices, all these people and these skyscrapers. I was looking at my partner and I was like, I am so happy I do not work in an office right now. I was like, I just can't be about that life, you know, like 8 to 5, making somebody else's money. You know what I mean? And basing your success on the amount of vacation days you have or how fat your bonus is at the end of the year. But at the end, like, you're making somebody else's money. You know what I mean? And I think the pandemic, you know, obviously had the good and bad, the bad being, you know, the pandemic itself and the illness and everything. But I think the other side that came out of it, it just showed us that we don't need to be in the office 5 days a week, 9 hours a day, you know? Like, some people are permanently based at home now. You know, like Twitter completely moved all their employees to working from home, 100%. You know, and that's opened up so much opportunities for people to say, okay, if I'm working from home, I have more time on my hands. I could do other things and make extra cash. Yeah. You know?
That's funny. My ex, she's in the music business, and she's still working as a PA, but she's managing the music, her music business from home.
Completely, right?
Yeah, completely. She says, because she's really good at doing a PA, she can manage that time in such a way that she's making more money in the music business now than she is as a PA.
Isn't that incredible?
She's paying them with the PA for arguments.
Man, that's so awesome. That day I was at this random pub, right, on a Friday night, my partner and I, and then this birthday group walk in, right, and you know they're all happy women and having a good time, and they sat next to us. We started talking and whatnot and sharing some drinks, and then you know one thing leads to another, and she asked me, "What do you do?" And I was like, "You know, I do a couple of different things in business here and there." And she goes, "Oh my God, I just started a maid business, right?" So she cleans homes and Airbnbs and whatnot, and she's making a lot of money, but for the life of her, she cannot manage this. So she was like, "Would you come and just manage my business? Just like show me how I could manage my finances, manage my you know, paying my employees and all of that." And I was like, "Sure, that's something I could do." You know, so it's another thing that I'm doing right now on the side, you know, and
Know her, you just
I didn't know her at all, and I don't know the first thing about managing a maid business here in the UK, you know, or the laws over here. But I said I did, and I went home and I researched all that stuff, you know, what the laws are in the UK, and I was able to help her, you know. So
American, that is. Sort it out later.
you know.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing when you're in an interview and they're like, "Hey, do you know how to use Excel?" And you're like, "I absolutely do." And you go home and you like YouTube that shit, you know. There's nothing you cannot learn online, dude. Like, I'm telling you, I learned graphic design online, I learned finance online, I learned management online, everything.
It's a can-do attitude, though. That's what you want from people. As an employer, that's what you want. You want to see, are people going to say, "I can't do this," or it's a glass half full or half empty. You want people to always see the glass half full.
Yeah, and people are always like, "Oh, do you need a degree to do this?" Absolutely not. You know, do you need a degree to be a doctor? Yes, you do. To be an engineer? Yes, you do. You know, something specific. But do you really need a degree to learn, you know, how to use a computer? You know, how to teach yourself, how to work on, you know, Photoshop, graphic design, all these skills that are really super required in the industry today. You know, no, you don't. You know, you could either do self-learning on YouTube or pay these online university courses, you know, which are a couple of $1,000s at maximum. You know.
Well, that's been good. We've come to the end of the trip. My last quick question is to you. What's the impact you want to have on the world?
I want to spread a lot of love, man. I want to spread a lot of love. I want people to be more friendlier and happy with each other, to be excited to see each other, you know, like through this pandemic, I know it was difficult on all of us in different ways, but I've tapped into this area in life, learning more about consciousness and awareness, and it's honestly changed my life, and it's changed people's lives around me, and I've seen that impact. And living in a city like London right now, I see that discommunication or disconnect between people, and I feel like it's lacking, and I just want to spread the love around the world.
Well, thanks a lot for that.
It's been my pleasure, man. This has been fun.
And we wish you well.